incredibly wealthy, and then in reality, they're leveraged to the hilt and broke, like way broke. That happens a lot. And that happens a lot with celebrities. Celebrities are very often leveraged to the hilt because they had a hit record or they had a hit movie or two, and then they think, oh, everything I do is going to be like this. And so they just go out and buy tons of stuff. And there's always people who loan you money, you know, especially if you're a public figure and you have some money, right? A couple of $1,000,000, you can get a couple million more real easy. So, and then it just very rapidly, and they buy everybody else. They have, you know, there's always clingers around the person, you know, the whole entourage that a lot of whom are siphoning money off of people. So there's a lot of people that look very wealthy and are dead broke. And I have a lot of those.
How does that play out in court when the wife finds out that their partner or the husband finds out that their wife was completely
They're not
broke?
happy. They're not happy. And it's hard because they think they have proof of something. Like they're like, but look, here's a picture of him with a Ferrari. And it's like, right, I can show you the papers that he leases that Ferrari. Like it's this much of a car payment. Like I had a guy who had like 3 Bentleys and a couple of, you know, like McLaren, he had crazy cars. And yeah, it was all leveraged to the hilt. It was not, he didn't own them, you know.
What's the second permutation of that?
The second permutation is when someone is when
they've hidden the money?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the right adjective, that they're enough of a sociopath, that they're enough of a malignant narcissist, or they're enough of a careful planner that they have created structures that make it almost impossible for their spouse to get anything in the divorce. So some of the things that people do in the ultra high net worth space for generational wealth preservation and tax avoidance have second order effects when they get divorced, right? So a lot of wealthy people don't own very much of anything. They own companies that own properties, and they have an interest in a trust for the benefit of their great-grandchildren that owns companies that own properties that they then borrow against. Like their whole structure is a very complex, and they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to trust and estates attorneys and accountants, so they pay almost nothing in taxes. And so that they will have no estate issues, they will have intergenerational wealth. Well, those things make a lot of sense from a wealth preservation and estate planning perspective, but they make a divorce really complicated because it's no longer marital money. It's owned by this trust. It's owned by this corporation. It's owned by, I only have this % interest in this thing, which is why we both benefited from the taxation of it. So that's where it gets like a little, what I do is a fascinating job because we work with, you know, very, very brilliant forensic accountants who kind of go in and try to recreate whether something was done as a fraudulent transfer in contemplation of divorce, or whether something was done for good faith reasons and you know, was done in a way that was designed to benefit the marriage as opposed to as divorce planning.
There must be scenarios where someone goes into a divorce. I think I'm divorcing you, let's say, and I think in divorcing you, I'm going to get a big payout. But it turns out in divorcing you that you get a big payout because I've got more money than you.
Yeah, it happens a lot. That happens a lot. I've actually, I wrote an article for one of the women's magazines called The Last Remaining Feminist Taboo. And it talks about a lot of female clients who are paying alimony to their husbands. and it stings. You know, you can have a woman who's like a Bella Abzug, like Gloria Steinem level feminist. And when she gets told, you know, that like, yeah, you got to pay him alimony, they're like, I'm sorry, what? Like, no, he's a man, he can work. Like, he can work. Men don't get alimony. And you're like, no, gender is a construct and sex is actually, you know, a construct socially. And you're a CFO of a company and he's a really cute long-haired musician who you married because he's like fun, you know, like, and you earn 4,000 times what he earns annually. And so you have to pay him alimony because it's just math. It's gender blind. It's just math. And they're like, yeah, no, I am not paying alimony. He's a man. He's got a strong back. Tell him to get a job. By the way, I've had men in that situation go, yeah, I'm not taking alimony.
Really? They won't take?
They won't take it.
Alimony is like
the spousal support.
Okay, like what? But child support or
no, it's for your it's to maintain the marital lifestyle. It's in order to rehabilitate your earnings so that you can be. So if, for example, I marry a woman from the UK who's a physician, and now she's coming to the United States because we're in love and she's marrying me. And she is going to lose her license to practice medicine because she's coming to the United States and it's a different licensure. Okay, so now she moves here in reliance on us being married, and we're married for a couple of years, and then we divorce. She's going to need, because I now make a lot more money than her, she's going to need some money to get her back to a place where she's back to her earning capacity.
So if I married Taylor Swift and we're together for 20 years, do I get half?
You do not get half usually, no. I mean, first of all, she has too many good lawyers, I'd imagine, for you to get half. But you would certainly, I mean, there was a...
How much could you get me?
How much could I get you from Taylor Swift? I'd have to know how much Taylor Swift has. I also don't think she's never made it down the aisle yet, has she?
But if I take her down the aisle and then we stay together 20 years and I come back to say, James, it's time.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get you as much as possible. I can't promise you anything, but I am promising you I'm going to get you as much as I can. I mean, you know, I'd have to know what the finances are. $1 billion. I would have to. She has $1 billion?
In cash.
$1 billion in cash acquired during the marriage or prior to the marriage?
During the marriage.
All acquired during the marriage, you're getting half.
There you go.
You're getting half. You're getting half. Listen, Adele's ex-husband did very well. Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband did very well.
How well did he do?
It depends on how, quite well. Look it up. Look it up. It's out there. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's out there. The reality is those were people, she had her most successful tour at the time during the marriage. She had her most successful album at the time during the marriage. It's all a question of where things land in the trajectory of someone's life. If you marry someone when they're on the come up, like Jeff Bezos, great example, like largest divorce settlement probably paid in history was to his ex-wife. Why? Because Amazon wasn't a thing when they got together, right? So that was, she was there for the whole trajectory. If he got remarried now, she's not gonna get half because she wasn't there. There's a premarital component to that is significant.
If you got me 500 million from Taylor Swift then, would you take like a commission, like an extra?
No, it doesn't work that way. We're prohibited from doing that. Yeah, we get paid by the hour.
You're prohibited.
I am an hourly wage earner, like if I worked at McDonald's.
Who prohibits you?
The rules that govern. And by the way, rightfully so.
Why?
Because you otherwise would create an incentive for the lawyer to maximize recovery for their client rather than the recovery that makes sense for their client. So like I've had cases where the cash payout I get for my client is lower because I want to get them more support, like child support or spousal support, or I want to get them more of the real estate rather than the payout. So really what we're supposed to do as lawyers is not be invested in the percentage of the result. Personal injury lawyers, like if you slip and fall, that's different.